As we continue, we're going to look at writing equations of lines. So these first two, we're given a point and a slope. We have learned two different ways to do these. Maybe I'll do the first one way, the second one the other way. We want the slope-intercept form. So the first way, we can just use slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. And whenever we write an equation of the line, we need a point and a slope. That's all we need, a point and a slope. Sometimes we have more information than we need, but we just need a point and a slope. So what we do in this first way of doing this, we can put in 2, 0 in for x and y. So this will be 0 equals the slope, which we can plug that into, that's 5/7. X was 2 plus b, and we can solve for b. So this is 10/7 plus b. Subtract 10/7 from both sides, and you get b is equal to -10/7. Now, for slope-intercept form, we needed the slope, which we had to start with. We were just able to find b, so now we can plug in y equals the slope, 5/7 x minus 10/7, or plus -10/7. Either way is fine. There's the equation of that line. So that's the one method, starting with slope-intercept form. The other method is to start with point-slope form. So point-slope form is y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. And what we can do here, this is our x sub 1 and our y sub 1. We can plug these in for x sub 1 and y sub 1, and we can plug in the slope. So this is y minus 2 equals the slope, which is 6/5, x minus our x sub 1 value. And then we don't want to leave it like this because the directions do say write the slope-intercept form, so we're going to change the slope-intercept form. We do that by distributing. The 5s would cancel here, so -6, and then we would add 2 to both sides. And you get y equals 6/5 x minus 4. So there's the equation of that line. Next, we'll move on to writing the equation of a line that has 2 points. And again, I'll do this the 2 different ways, one each. So the first one, remember, we need a point and a slope. Well, we have a point, and we don't have the slope, but we can find the slope. So when you're given 2 points, you must start by finding the slope. And that's y sub 1 minus y sub 2 over the difference of the x values, x sub 1 minus x sub 2. And we get 2 minus 5 is -3 over -3. So that's handy. The slope is just 1. Now put it in slope-intercept form. You'd be wise to use this point here because this is actually just the y-intercept. So when x is 0, that gives us the y-intercept. So really we're ready. We have the slope, which is 1. Y equals 1x plus the y-intercept of b, which is 5. And so there's your equation. That only works if you have a 0 in the x value and then the y value. That's the only time it's the y-intercept. Don't ever just plug any y value in there. Otherwise, you would have to plug the point in like we did on question 12. This one, we need to find the slope again. M equals y sub 1, so -5 minus -4, y sub 1 minus y sub 2, over x sub 1 minus x sub 2. And this gives us plus 4, so negative 5 plus 4 is negative 1 over 2, so we have negative 1/2 as our slope. Now we can use point-slope form and we can plug in either of the points. It doesn't matter which one, they will work out. So we have, let's just use the first point, y minus negative 5, so put the y value in there, equals m, which was negative 1/2, x minus, we used negative 5, so x minus 3. And now we simplify, or solve for y. This would be a plus here. So y plus 5 equals, we'll distribute the negative 1/2, so this is negative 1/2 x plus 3/2, which really is 1.5 if that helps. Might help with subtracting. Subtract 5 from both sides to finish solving. And you get y equals negative 1/2 x. Negative 5 and 1.5 is negative 3.5. And there's the equation of that line. So that was, write the equation of a line given 2 points. Next, we notice we have a point and then it's parallel to a certain line. Well, if 2 lines are parallel, their slopes are the same. So this one, I'm glad this is on here. This is a little bit different. It's just y equals a constant. But we remember y equals a constant is a horizontal line. And what is the slope of a horizontal line? Well, the slope is 0. So let's take y equals mx plus b. We can put in the point, so negative 2 for y. We can put in the slope of 0, 2 in for x plus b. Well, 0 times 2 is 0 plus b, so b equals negative 2. And so we can think y equals, our slope is 0, x, and then plus b, which is negative 2. Well, 0x is just 0, so 0 plus negative 2 is negative 2. So our answer is y equals negative 2. There was a quicker way to think through that. Since this is a horizontal line, it's y equals a number. The horizontal line that's parallel to it will be y equals whatever y value this is. And that's only when dealing with horizontal lines. But I just wanted to show you that if you ran through the standard process, it would also work out. Coming over to this next one here, number 17, we'll use point-slope form. Y minus y sub 1 equals m times the quantity x minus x sub 1. These lines, we want our line to be parallel to this one, so we want the slope to be the same. So we want it to be negative 1/3. So now we can plug in our point and our slope. So y minus negative 1 equals the slope, which is negative 1/3, x minus the x value, which is 3. This is y plus 1. We will distribute. So we got negative 1/3 x, and then negative 1/3 times negative 3 is going to be positive 1. And we subtract 1 from both sides, and we get negative 1/3 x plus 0. You don't have to put the plus 0. If you put it, some people like to put it because it reminds them that the slope, or that the y-intercept is 0. But there is the equation of the line that goes through 3, negative 1, and is parallel to this line. And then the last two for writing equations have perpendicular. These are going to be very similar, except when your lines are perpendicular, you know you want the slopes to be opposite reciprocals. So we want to be the opposite sign. So this one is going to be positive, and the reciprocal of this is 3/5. We don't use this negative 1 at all. We won't use this 4 at all. So y equals mx plus b. We'll do this the first way. We can put in our point. So 1 for y equals the slope 3/5 times -5 for x plus b. 5's reduced. This is -1. So we have 1 equals 3 times -1 is -3 plus b. Add 3 to both sides, and you get b equals 4. So we have our slope, and we have the y-intercept. So the equation is y equals 3/5 x plus 4. And then this one, again, the slope is going to be the negative reciprocal. So we want the opposite sign. This one's negative, so we want our slope to be positive. And the reciprocal, so we want it to be 1/4. We will work with point slope form here. And we'll plug in, we put our point, y minus the y value, so -3 equals the slope of 1/4 times x minus the x value. These both become positive, so we have y plus 3. We'll distribute the 1/4. So 1/4 x. 1/4 times 4 is 1. And then we'll finish off by subtracting 3 from both sides. And we get y equals 1/4 x minus 2 is the equation of that line. So there are all the writing equations of lines ones.